Howdy, folks. I'm Mark, and today I am joined by Wesley. Almost botched that. Let me try that again. Wesley Rea. Okay. Howdy, folks. I'm Mark, and today I am joined by Wesley Rea of Retronym and the Henshin Dad himself, as he is known. Wesley, thank you for joining me for this short talks on video games.
Mm-hmm. Happy to be here from the West Coast, where it's still kind of light out. It's kind of nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very, very nice. It's late over here, over in the far west reaches of the Eastern Time Zone. I'm barely in the Eastern Time Zone, but we're still here.
Where all the weird people are.
Yeah. It's true. It's fine. It's very dark over here now. But all of you out there, you're listening to Quick Play, so let's get right into it. On this podcast and elsewhere, I have made myself abundantly clear that I don't really care for JRPGs, including that was a big topic on our last big discourse. Honestly, it's the turn-based combat. I just think it's boring. It's 100% a silly bias, but it's just I didn't really play JRPGs growing up, so I've never really got into it. But as I recently joined the Playwell Network, where Wes has been a long-standing member, and
founding member.
That's true. Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to.
Where do you think the W comes from?
That's true. Oh. Is that
totally
Paul, Wes, Nate? I guess you didn't put Josh and PWN.
We always joke that the J is silent.
That's pretty good. That was, wow. I would have believed it of this piece of lore of the Pwn Network or Playwell Network, Pwn, whatever it is. Well, so I joined in, talked about having Wes on, and you, maybe even as a joke, pitched an episode of matchmaking me with the right JRPG. But here we are, and I've come with an open mind and a begrudgingly willing heart. But even start, how do you define, what is a JRPG?
Well, a JRPG to me, I mean, obviously you have the J, which stands for, Japanese. So it is an inherently Japanese thing. So you're kind of taking a look at yes, it's the Josh RPG. Yeah. Which is very, very true. Josh loves JRPGs. So I think he's very, very typecast into that role. But as far as JRPGs go, I mean, obviously I'm a filthy weeaboo. So I love everything Japanese, just like hook, line, and sinker. Like if it's Japanese, if it's a Japanese thing, I love it, obviously. But the thing that I really like about JRPGs is that they're very, I don't know, I feel like they're more engrossing than like Western RPGs. And I think that they have much stronger like narrative hooks and arcs throughout with a lot of great characters. And unfortunately, one of the things I really love is the turn-based combat. So we're going to have a bit of a disagreement there.
Okay.
But I don't know, there's just something about the aesthetics and the way that the story's presented and the way the characters interact. They've always felt a little bit more like mature, but not in a gross way, if you know what I mean. Because we've all played our own like share of like Western RPGs that are maybe a little bit scandalous. And not to say that the Japanese are pure as the driven snow, because they got some weird stuff in their games too.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say the types of storylines that they try to tell are a little bit more character focused. Maybe they don't necessarily make sense 100% of the time. The turn-based combat is great. And I don't know. I just love them, dude. I just love them. And it just makes me sad that you don't love them the exact same way.
I mean, that's what we're here to do. But so you mentioned not as engrossing as like Western RPGs. In your mind, is that typically like the action RPGs, or is there... Because there's these genre difference that tends to fall on like geographical lines, but I don't know if it's necessarily that.
I feel like one of the big mainstays, and obviously there are some rule breakers on both sides of the pond, but I feel like one of the things is that Western RPGs tend to be more like the main character is you, and you're kind of playing as this type of protagonist that's just like supposed to represent you, versus with Japanese RPGs, you're usually stepping into the role of an already defined character. So I would say like one of the most classic examples would be like Final Fantasy IV, where you're standing in with as Cecil, who starts out as a Dark Knight and goes through his own like crazy character changes over time. So it feels like it's more world focused and like character focused than the Western RPGs are, which tend to be like maybe a little bit bogged down in menus and whatnot, kind of coming off of that like old computer-based RPG stuff, that's super boring games that only Paul plays. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Of course, yes. And I guess it does. If the Western RPGs are emphasizing more of like a created character, you're kind of limited on narrative, which kind of can lead to more rich narrative potentially in JRPGs. Well, nice. Okay, so here's where we're at. I want to find out if I, Mark Erickson, want to play an RPG. Play a JRPG. Because here's the thing: I've played RPGs, but not really like the turn-based ones. But what I have played, just to give us a basis, is I have rolled credits on Pokemon Sword. I think that's the only one I've rolled credits on. I played
interesting
of Pokemon Emerald. I've played Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, and I played about half Sea of Stars before I burnt out. I love Stardew Valley, which is not a turn-based RPG, but it is kind of, you are role-playing a farmer. And I did really like Super Paper Mario, which is not a JRPG, but has elements of it. I don't know. So I at no point, of course, am I claim to be a JRPG player, but at least I want to set the standard. Like that's my experience overall. Where do I go next? How do I find out where do I go next?
Well, you come and talk to me, of course, because I am the JRPG aficionado, you know.
Well, good.
So let me give you a bit of a backstory on my JRPG experience here.
Yeah.
So the first time I've even heard of the term RPG was when we were in this little video game rental store. It was called TR Video up in the beautiful area in northern Idaho. It was so beautiful. Love that area. Shout out to Idaho, because they're obviously your biggest fans. So I was just in the back with my brothers. Contingent. Oh yeah. Potatoes and roses. That's all you got. So we were in the back area looking at the Super Nintendo games, and I was looking with my brothers, and all of a sudden I see this little game called Super Mario RPG. And I'm just like, what in the world is an RPG? I like Mario. I like Super Mario. I like Mario World. I like Mario 3. I'm a big Mario fan at this point. But I see Super Mario RPG. And what's really interesting is that on the cover, these characters were like all polygonal versus like sprite looking. So it's kind of almost like a claymation effect that is trying to exhibit for you. And I'm instantly like hooked in. I'm like, what is this game? I need to play this game. And my brothers are like, oh yeah, it's pretty fun. It's okay. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, I don't care what you guys have to say. I'm renting this game. So I was able to somehow convince my parents to rent it, which is, a chore in and of itself because they didn't like us playing games all the time. Took it home, put it in the Super Nintendo, and I was like immediately hooked because, you get your typical Mario story. The princess is being kidnapped by Bowser and everything. So you instantly, as Mario, in this like isometric 3D plane, are going through the castle with Bowser. And immediately, like 10 minutes into the game, you're fighting Bowser. Like, boom, there you go. I'm like, okay. This game is really short. I guess an RPG means like really puny game or something like that. So you beat Bowser, and with all like the text and everything, and Peach is talking, and Bowser's like quipping and everything. I was like, wow, this game's really funny. Like, I didn't expect this to be a funny game.
Sure.
But it's really, really interesting. It's keeping me hooked, as like a little like 7-year-old or whatever I was at the time. And so I kept playing, and then you beat Bowser, and then all of a sudden, this big giant sword, as most JRPGs have a great big giant sword somewhere in the story, comes crashing down through Bowser's castle. And it's like a sentient sword, so it's got eyes and everything, and it kicks you out, takes over Bowser's castle, and Bowser gets thrown off, and all this crazy stuff happens. And I'm like, this is the first 10 minutes of the game. What's going to happen here? And then from there, it enters into this really, really engaging and humorous story about Mario eventually like teaming up with both Bowser and Princess Peach on the same team. And so you're all like fighting together, and you have all these like crazy, like original characters like Mallow, who's like this big marshmallow cloud thing. And Gino, obviously, I'm sure you've heard of Gino because,
I've played Smash Brothers, and I've seen that community.
Yes, they're a little bit crazy, they're like the Pokemon fans these days, but I digress. So yeah, you just play through this entire story, and then Bowser's like your friend, and then you get to actually see like this wedding scene where like one of these like evil characters is trying to marry Peach, and so Bowser and Mario are both trying to save her from that whole thing. Then you find this big giant cake that tries to kill you. It's just like the humor is just completely wacky and off the wall, and like that was my entry into JRPGs. And since there, I've been kind of chasing that high because nothing really like hits the same way except for one particular RPG, which I think we'll talk about later.
Sure.
So I think what really got me was just like I said, the character interactions, just a storyline that I've never played before. And maybe it was just something about playing a JRPG in the 90s because all you had at that point were like arcadey type games, Street Fighter, things like that. You know, you had some JRPGs here and there with like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, but those were still pretty niche, like Japanese properties at that point. So they didn't necessarily bring them over as quickly as we'd prefer. But that's the one that really got me. So, you know, that would be my first recommendation. If you've never played Super Mario RPG, that's a good one.
Well, I have not. Is that I mean, there was the remake that came out recently. I don't think the original's not on Switch Online. Like, there's not really a reasonable way to play that.
Not as far as I can remember. I don't think it was on any of the eShops except maybe on the Wii. So if you can get your Wii hooked up to the internet somehow, I don't know how you're going to do that. But the Switch remake actually is totally faithful to the original, like almost to a fault, with a few quality of life features that make it a little bit easier. So, like, if you're playing along with any kids, like that's like the easiest thing in the world. You can just put that on, and it's so fun. That would be my first recommendation.
Okay,
Mario RPG.
That's helpful. Okay, and partly is because like I have played Mario and Luigi, in that like honestly, I was playing at a time when in my high school, we all had laptops, and I was playing games in class on an emulator, and like both of those things, like, I just did not know better at the time. I'm so sorry. But it was just this thing really more in study hall of like, I don't really have to pay attention, and this has Mario in it. But that was the kind of, and I think I played most of it. I don't know if I ever rolled credits on it, but yeah, there's like, I kind of got the vision of it, but yeah, it didn't quite hook me. I realized, like, as you were telling your story of like, that's the box art, like, clues you in what kind of game it is. Like the fact that they're isometric is like, oh no, this is a different kind of Mario. He's not a profile. And that's actually, I just never, and it's a dumb take, but like, I just never noticed that. Like, actually, that's pretty smart of them to telegraph that.
Oh yeah, and that box art is amazing with the castle right there and the sword. You have all these characters that you kind of know, kind of don't know, standing along with Mario. It's like, oh, what is this? This looks so cool.
Bowser's teeth looks wild in this. In his,
oh man, here. Bowser's a total Chad in the game. Total Chad.
All right, what else you got for me? I got a note there.
Okay, so I am a little bit confused as to how you started with Pokemon Sword. I need to know exactly, not only like how you stuck with it, but how you even rolled credits on it. Because let me tell you, that was one of the Pokemon games that was like the hardest for me to get through as a Pokemon fan. So I'm very curious.
Sure. So like, I had never played through a Pokemon game. I had played bits and pieces of Pokemon game before that. Like my cousins had Game Boys, and I remember spending like 2 hours with Pokemon Yellow. Again, in high school, later, don't tell anyone. I was playing Pokemon Emerald, but never beat that one. And then in 2018, Pokemon Sword, friend of the show, Parker Deal, has his own, was on his other podcast, and this was a Nintendo-centric podcast with a heavy emphasis on Pokemon. So he and his co-host were talking about Pokemon a good bit. And honestly, I got FOMO. Whereas like, this new Pokemon game's coming out. Like, I remember, like, I grew up with Pokemon. I got the cards. I watched the show. I never had a Game Boy growing up, so I never really played the games until Sword, honestly. But like, I've always been a light Pokemon fan, even though I really have very little experience with the games. And so essentially I got FOMO. I was thinking like, maybe this one, it'll click, and this is how I will get back into Pokemon in a real way. And I got my kind of played through it, got it for Christmas, and yeah, I played through it over the next like month and a half, and then I rolled credits and was like, that was fun. I'll come back to it when I want to again, and I haven't wanted to again. And that's fair. So
yeah. I haven't wanted to either, to be perfectly honest.
So I'm in the same spot. See, you're just like me.
the thing about Pokemon Sword and Shield is that they were just so like that was like the big cutoff point to where it's like these games do not run on Switch properly at this point. Like when you go out to that wild area, like right at the beginning of the game, it's like, oh, that's cool. But the like render distance between me and the Pokemon is like, 10 feet. And then all of a sudden they just pop up and
like
it's all
zoom
like,
in. It's like,
exactly. And then it's all jittery and like the frame rate just takes a dive during that entire section, which is such a shame because the games had so much promise being set in like, Pokemon Britain. But goodness, no. Okay. So going along with the Pokemon, recommendations here. Okay. I'm assuming, do you have a Switch too?
Yes, I do.
You do have a Switch too. Okay, perfect. So then I would say that probably the best option for you would be the new Pokemon Legends game, Pokemon Legends Z-A or AZ. I don't really know which way the alphabet goes, honestly, in that. But that one is like, it's really good because it takes place in like this one confined area and they do away with the turn-based battles. Okay. So it's more like free roaming around in this little stadium thing. And you're just kind of reacting like in real time to your opponent. So it's a little bit janky here and there, but it looks beautiful. It's Pokemon France, so you'll have to forgive it for being a French game, like because
gross, but it's fine.
It made me feel a little bit dirty when I was playing it, and I'm still playing it because it's so fun. But yeah, the game is just so fast paced, fluid. Like it gets you from point A to point B to point Z. No pun intended. As quickly as possible. You get to explore the city, like catch whatever Pokemon or get completely destroyed by Pokemon because like that difficulty ceiling is pretty tough if you don't know what you're getting into. So while I have not finished the game yet, it does follow like as a successor of the Pokemon Legends RCS game as well. And so that kind of fun Pokemon, it's not really a side game, but it kind of is a side game at this point. It's not a mainline game, but oh my goodness, it's so fun. Like, you can do what Josh did and like rent it from the library if that's your thing. If you have a library that does that sort of thing.
I don't think ours does. I'm in smaller towns, so they haven't picked up video games yet.
That's lame because mine doesn't either, and I'm in a big town, so I don't understand why our libraries are worse than an Iowa library. So whatever.
Who knows? Whatever. Iowa,
whatever.
Got nothing else going for it, so they put video games to the library.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you're going to be in 30 below weather, so here's some video games, guys.
Yeah.
But no, it's really fun if you grew up with Pokemon, and while you didn't play the games, like you said. The sense of adventure that you got through the anime and through collecting the cards, I think you'd get something very similar because the goal is to catch a lot of Pokemon really fast. And so you fill up your boxes with hundreds and hundreds of Pokemon in these games versus like the mainline games. It's like you catch what you want, you stick with it versus this one is more like, oh no, you're burning through Pokemon like as fast as humanly possible. It's like, oh, there's a shiny one. I'm going to go through that one. Yeah. And it's just a fun little like treasure hunt in a lot of different ways, but it's also like a battle royale type setup. So you're going through and fighting people like really fast during like these different tournaments and learning more about the world. Yeah. And it has Mega Evolution, which is great. So if you've never experienced Mega Evolution, it's like Gigantamax, but not lame.
Sure. Yeah. They just got really big. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's much better.
Nice. Yeah. ZA was intriguing for kind of the revamped battle system because it's like, it's not like, it was fine. Like Sword is fine of like just, it's, you select the things you want but
it's so slow. It's just so slow. I don't feel like I can go back and play old Pokemon games now that I experience what the new stuff has to offer because they do so much better. Like when I'm playing, I'm usually playing on an emulator and I'm usually pushing that × 2, × 3 speed. Like really fast through the battles because they're boring. They're boring.
You're steering me in the wrong direction.
I can't blame anybody.
Exactly. This is all the things I've been saying. Thank you for making my point.
No, I totally get it. So I had at least one more, maybe a couple more, but okay. So you, based on the RPGs that you say you played, like Mario and Luigi, Sea of Stars, a little bit of Pokemon, you kind of like your games to be a little bit more lighthearted, maybe in some ways. You like a little bit of comedy, that sort of thing.
Sure.
So I don't know if you've ever played Earthbound or if you've ever even heard of Earthbound. I'm sure you've probably heard it.
Smash Brothers.
Yes, exactly. Smash Brothers is made by the same guy. No, not the same guy, but same mindset. He's there.
I know Earthbound. Yes.
Same country. They're from the same country.
Right. Yes.
So what do you know about Earthbound? Like, what have you heard about it?
It is quirky. It's got, I know I can't remember the guy's name now, but I know he is kind of well known for his artistic take and everything.
Yes.
it's a very intentionally flavored game, I guess. Is like it knows what it is. It's a little weird, and it's like you start out as a little your Nestle in this one, or I guess it's Nintendo was the first one, and then your Nest, and then your Lucas. Got your group of plucky friends and go out and meet aliens.
Exactly.
Okay,
that's pretty much it. You go out there, you meet time travelers and aliens, and you beat hippies up with baseball bats, and it's a great time, honestly. I would recommend, of the 3 that are available, which one technically isn't because it's still kind of Japanese only, unless you get a fan translation, which, neither here nor there. But I would say that the middle title, Earthbound, the one that came over during the Super Nintendo era, is probably the best realized of the trilogy in terms of like unbelievably great translation. Well, not even a translation. It's definitely more of a localization. It really tried to appeal to some of those like 90s American stereotypes. The entire game looks like a Peanuts comic strip, like played out on screen. And if you like the idea of like Charlie Brown hitting, hippies with baseball bats, there you go.
I'm intrigued by that. That's something I feel like I have to see at least.
Exactly. So it starts off really quirky and weird, and then it gets like gradually a little bit like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. There's cults in this game. Oh, okay, that's interesting. A manifestation of evil that brings out like the wickedness in people's hearts. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's an eldritch abomination right there. That's what I'm fighting right now. Oh my goodness, my soul is going to be ripped out of my body. Okay.
Let's do this. So, you also just described most Kirby games too.
Pretty much, yeah. That's probably why I got confused with the creators, because they're very similar in terms of like, oh, okay, this is the mood we're going to set. Okay, yeah. I would say it is a kid's video game that tells a very mature, not an edgy story, but like a mature story. Like, it's a tale of growing up, and you meet your plucky friends, and things gradually like lose their innocence a bit, but then there's always that hope that innocence will return in a way. And
I like that. Okay.
It's just one of those things. It's like, I don't want to spoil it necessarily, but it's one of those games that's like, yeah, it's a turn-based RPG, but it has a lot of quality of life features in even the Super Nintendo era that most games even today don't even implement. Like, for example, if you're stronger than an enemy and you're able to get behind it and attack it, it'll just instantly win for you and give you the experience and everything that you need. So it's just busts through a lot of those like easier villains that you're fighting. And really the length is pretty short. Like you're talking like maybe 20 to 25 hours. It's a very brisk JRPG, like set in like a pastiche of modern America in the 1990s.
Yeah.
So you'll see like, you look like you're a kid that was, living in the 90s. So I don't know how old you are, but I'm assuming that's what you
born 94. So that's
born 94. Okay. Wow. You're such a youngin'. Okay.
Spring chicken over here.
Exactly. Man, so it's all the type of
lower 30s.
Lower 30s. Okay. I'm in the higher 30s right now. But it's all the type of stuff that you grew up with. It's not like nostalgia for nostalgia's sake because it was like current at that time. But I don't know. It's just, there's just something about it that anybody who plays it, like I have never heard anybody say a bad thing about this game other than like, maybe they don't understand what the final boss is all about. But other than that, like that's the game right there. And you can get that on the Switch's Super Nintendo channel. Like it's just right there. You can just play it. You could play it right now. You could be playing it this second.
That's a good one. Okay. That feels like because that's a lower barrier to entry. Also, as I realized as I'm talking, again, Parker Deal, friend of the show, inspired me to get into Pokemon. A long time ago, I promised him I'd try out Golden Sun, and I've just remembered that. I just remembered that promise and feel a little bad. I've not done that. I'm sorry, Parker. So maybe that's on my list too, alongside.
I can definitely second that, honestly, because it's also on the Switch's like Game Boy Advance section, right? Okay. That is one of those JRPGs that is very, very unique, and it's not everybody's cup of tea because the battle system's a little bit complex. But I feel like if you have a guide and you can kind of generally figure out like what the techniques are calling for, it does feel like very nice to play. And it has a really good storyline. Both that and the sequels, honestly. So
good to know.
I would second that.
One I want to get your take on it, because this is if I went in blind of like I should find one to try out. Chrono Trigger was the one that's been like lauded everywhere. Is that on your list for me, or is that, what do you think there?
That was one I was debating about for you because it is a short game. It's between around the same as Earthbound, about 20 to 25 hours, maybe 30 if you're pushing it and really trying to 100% it. The thing about that is that it is more of it's both active and turn-based. So like the combat's moving pretty swiftly and you have to choose your choices from a menu, but the enemies can still attack by that point. Unless, I think there's ways you can change that.
Okay.
The thing about that, though, is that it's a JRPG made for people who are fans of the genre. I just don't see anybody who's not like already interested in it or already like knee deep in those types of things enjoying it as much. It's made for the people who like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest because it's basically a perfect fusion of the two. But if you're not really a fan to begin with, like it can be a little bit overwhelming trying to juggle the 3 different characters and their different try techniques that they have with each other, especially when the enemy's already like beating you up. And the storytelling's a little bit obtuse, so if you're not really keyed into that kind of Super Nintendo and Nintendo style storytelling, like it's not something I would recommend for beginners, that's for sure.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Like it is a high watermark of the genre, but not necessarily the best gateway into it.
That's a good way to describe it. Like it's one of those JRPGs is like, this is a perfect JRPG, but the barrier to entry is a little bit high if you want to enjoy it to the fullest extent.
I think maybe I made this distinction on the last episode, but JRPGs to me feel like scotch, where it's like you have to be, you kind of have to eat yourself into it. If you like it, there's some good complexity there. Actually, conveniently, ironically, I don't know what's the right word here, but when Japan wanted to get into making whiskey, they were open up their borders, trying to get more into the world. They brought in the Scots to teach them how. So Japanese whiskey is notably pretty peaty for being a whiskey, like very almost Scotch-esque. So there's a little
there you go.
There.
Let me tell you, if JRPGs are like a good Scotch, then I am a raging alcoholic. Let me tell you. That's all I indulge in.
Just imbibing for hours on end. You had mentioned earlier on, you've got one up your sleeve that's like one you wanted to mention later on. What is that one you had in mind?
That was Earthbound. Like that to me is the perfect gateway into JRPGs for you. I think once you get into that, I mean, if you like Stardew Valley, I could also mention just any of the Harvest Moon games. Just pick up, you've played the sequels or you played the, permutation of it, the remix. Right. Now you got to play the originals where like, it's maybe not as necessarily as, in-depth and mechanical as what you're used to, because Stardew Valley is just absolutely insane. Sure. Like I can't even get into it because like, there's too much to do here. I can't focus. Like what's going on? Yeah. But Harvest Moon's a little bit more simplified.
I've thought about maybe that original Harvest Moon is on Switch Online. I don't remember.
The Super Nintendo one is, and I think Harvest Moon 64 is possibly, unless that's the Wii. I don't remember. But I mean, any of the, they call it like Story of Seasons and Rune Factory and all that stuff now. So like you could pretty much pick up any one of them and they're pretty darn good. Yeah.
I've thought about like trying the original Harvest Moon would be a good, like a homework assignment just to understand kind of the background of one of my favorite games of all time, being Stardew.
It's like the same game. It looks exactly the same.
It's just to sink another casual 500 hours into this one too.
Yeah. It'd be more like 10 hours. You'd be
okay. That's good. A little less to do back then. Yeah. Well, our time here, I guess for you, before we start wrapping up here, you had mentioned Super Mario RPG being like the one that got you in. Any others that were significant for you as you've developed into this JRPG lover?
Let's see. I mean, if you call Pokemon an RPG, like Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Silver, like I was a Pokemon fan from the very beginning. Like once I got tuned in 1998 to the whole Pokemon scene, like I was hooked. But Super Mario RPG, Pokemon. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy on the PlayStation 1 back when those came out as well, but I wasn't really into it. One of the weird games that kind of got me into the whole JRPG scene, which isn't really a JRPG in and of itself, but it kind of is Parasite Eve for the PlayStation. That's like it's like Resident Evil, Final Fantasy. If you can kind of like fuse those two together in your mind, it's a bizarre game. Like, I do not recommend it for any younger listeners whatsoever. It is so weird, but it's like super off the wall, like kind of gross and dirty, like Resident Evil kind of is. But if you ever want to play something that's just really wacky, Parasite Eve, like that could be interesting if you like the horror aspect of it. I don't know if you know anything about it, but it's bizarre.
It's like a name I've seen get tossed around, and have very little concept about it at all. And welcome back after a little internet snafu. We are back, hot spotted and ready to go.
To the power of Verizon. This podcast will continue.
Sponsored by Verizon. Thank you.
Not
Verizon.
Spectrum. Spectrum stinks. Down with Spectrum. Hate it.
Oh man, the worst. Well, given that too, our time is short. But before we go, we have a little. It's kind of a counter argument game sort of thing in which I have a handful of games that I've played that I love that I think maybe I am an RPG player because I'm role playing in these games. But here's where we'll start. I have played most of Golf Story. Is that a JRPG?
I don't believe it's Japanese, but I think that could count as an RPG proper because it does have like a town that you can visit and you can like buy new clubs and whatnot, upgrade your equipment. And there is an engrossing story about like the evils of like big business or something taking over golf or something. I don't know. It's like Happy Gilmore too, but in RPG form.
There, yes. Okay, great. RPG. It counts.
Yeah.
Next up, Stardew Valley. That's an RPG, right?
I mean, also again, not Japanese, but you know, definitely an RPG. I mean, you get married in it, which is kind of fun. You know, like who did you pick? Who was your bae? Your waifu?
Well, currently I'm playing co-op, so my wife is my wife in the game.
Your wife is your wifey. That's how it should be.
There we go. Yes. Although my first playthrough, I did pick Leah.
Okay. I've heard good things.
How about you?
I haven't really played it. I watched my son play it, and he's just like, "This girl's cute. I'm gonna go for her." I'm like, "You're like 9 years old. Okay, sure.
Can't think about that yet.
Go for it. Yeah."
How about this? This is not Japanese, but you role play a lot, and it's Red Dead Redemption 2. You're role playing Arthur Morgan. Story there, not great character, deep, rich story. Lots of systems, lots of mechanics.
I can't speak apparently. I would definitely classify that as a Western RPG. It's actually more of a traditional Western RPG because you got all these different little side quests and everything that you're supposed to be doing. And there are like story elements that do change over time based on the decisions you make, right? Because I haven't played it myself. Yes. I've only heard good things, but
there are different. It's kind of like an all roads lead to Rome situation, but you can. There's a few different roads that lead to Rome. If that makes sense.
Okay. I mean, similar in like the vein of The Witcher or something like that. I imagine it's more of a Western RPG.
Yeah, you can get a different cutscene if you choose this dialogue, and they'll build on each other. But
and there's zombies in some way, shape, or form, right? Pretty sure there's some zombies involved.
I don't think not in 2. In Red Dead Redemption 1, there is the Undead Nightmare DLC.
Okay, that makes it a JRPG. You know, you have to have zombies somewhere in a JRPG.
Wow. Well, dang, I didn't know it was a rule.
Yeah, it's the unwritten rule, but you know.
Sure.
I got the DL for you. Don't worry.
Thank you. This is why you're here. You're learning me good. This one actually is Japanese, but Gran Turismo 7. Here's the thing. There's a lot of one-sided dialogue of characters as you build up your career. You go out on these fetch quests to get your car built up. You talk to different people. You're going around. I think I've heard people call this a car PG. How about that?
A car playing game? I mean, technically it would be like a car playing game, yes. I don't know. That one's pushing the definition of the term a little bit because that's more of a simulation, I feel like, versus an RPG. Yeah, I mean, like, what's the actual story in Gran Turismo?
You are a budding driver and you meet lots of people. You spend a lot of time at a coffee shop. That I don't understand why you do that.
Do you get to dress up your character in any way?
I don't think you ever. Well, yes. Yeah, you have racing suits. Yeah.
Okay. Do you get to romance any cars as a car yourself? Because you are a car.
I don't know. Yes, I don't think this is like a Cars Lightning McQueen Sally situation.
If it was, that would be a JRPG right there.
Okay. Is Cars the video game? Is that a JRPG because of that?
Obviously. Duh.
Okay.
Come on. You're stepping into the role of Lightning McQueen. You're playing this very engrossing story. You level up. Come on.
Yes.
You get to dress up your car.
Perfect. Okay, great.
I'm pretty sure it was probably made by Koreans in some way, shape, or form. So, Japanese adjacent.
So, yeah. Although that might have been a THQ game. Actually, I did have it for GameCube. And
I'm sure they outsourced to Korea in some way, shape, or form.
Sure. As we all are wont to do.
Yes, exactly.
How about this? Guacamelee 2, notably Metroidvania, but it has a brief section in which the game turns to turn-based combat. It's a little side quest you get to do, and it all just changes.
See, that seems more like an homage, honestly. Like, okay, Super Mario RPG did this thing where if you step behind a curtain in a certain part of the game, you could actually turn into 2D Mario and jump around and like do some stuff.
Oh.
So like just by having a little section like that in your game, does that technically make it the game itself? I don't think so. Yes. I don't think you can call Super Mario RPG a side-scrolling platformer, even though it had like one specific segment in it.
Okay. That's fine.
I don't know.
Right. How about this one? This is like genuinely a top 5 game for me, but SSX On Tour. You create a character, you get better gear, you build up your stats, you're talking to different party members and not really part of your party. They're more competitors.
Party members. But, I just imagine somebody with a snowboard and a big giant sword.
Yes, I mean, if you don't know Simon would be a JRPG character somewhere along the lines.
I don't know, but that kind of falls under sports gaming, Like, can we really like declare like any of like the MLB The Show type games as JRPGs because you're like, doing Excel spreadsheets with the numbers? Come on.
Sure.
I don't know.
I think there's like 2K has a whole like role playing career mode.
Yeah, I mean technically, yeah, but like there's like the proper definition of an RPG and then there's the ethos of an RPG. Okay. And it may have the proper definition, but doesn't have the ethos.
Well, back to baseball, technically that is also turn-based combat.
Exactly. You have all the rules of the players. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, would I consider it? I don't know. Does it have like the granular nature of an RPG? I don't know. The very soul, you might say.
Well, the very soul. How about this one? Very soul of an RPG is Wii Sports Resort. Not only
definitely, 100%.
Okay, great.
You don't have to convince me.
On the same page. Excellent.
Wii Sports Resort, yeah. Wii Sports Resort is like the everything game. It has everything.
Yes, of course.
I'm sure there's horror elements in this somewhere. Come on.
Probably so. Yeah.
Yeah.
JRPG. There we go.
100%.
Anything else? That's a list of my games that I love. That's like I think these are probably JRPGs. Actually, anything that you want to add as well to that list?
I mean, under that kind of definition though, couldn't anything be an RPG?
Yes.
I mean, I guess so. Yeah. Our definitions are relevant at this point.
Yes. None of them matter. Everything is made up.
Mm-hmm.
We did Pac-Man? Not just do it. Pac-Man.
Yeah, it's got little cutscenes, obviously.
Yep. Riveting story.
Mm-hmm.
I did have, before we wrap up here, this is a quick play first. I had a listener question. Actual listener asked to remain anonymous, but
definitely not Paul.
Not Paul. But he asked, if JRPGs are so good, then why does Final Fantasy X-2 exist? Does that mean anything to you?
Gosh, JRPG. That means a lot to me, honestly. I'm gonna respond to this listener with a jolly good ahoy, matey. Final Fantasy X-2 is a flawed game. Okay, it is definitely a JRPG. Like nobody can argue that it's a very very J and it's JRPG.
I mean, like, it's probably you could call it a Wii Sports Resort like probably.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, a Wii Sports Resort Vania, definitely.
Yes.
See, terrible story, really fun gameplay. If you don't like turn-based RPGs, like this is an action-based RPG. You still pick things from menus, but it's really fast, and there's guns involved. So honestly, Final Fantasy X-2 is definitely the RPG for you. Like, forget everything else I said. Forget Earthbound. Forget everything else. Final Fantasy X-2. Pick it up. You can get it on any modern system at this point. Come on, you got this.
Thank you. Okay. This is, so there we go. It's all decided now. So, great.
Thank you, random listener from a country that doesn't exist.
Excellent. All right, well, that's the end of the episode. We can wrap this up now. But one thing before we go, one name, one game. What are you playing?
What am I playing right now? I am playing one thing right now, and it is a JRPG, actually.
Nice.
The Switch 2 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake came out. That's one of those RPGs that I would have actually probably suggested if it wasn't like filled with like 30 years of backstory and intricate details and just things you're probably not interested at all. So like it's really fun. Everybody should play Final Fantasy VII Remake and the whole trilogy because it's wonderful. But again, it's one of those high bar RPGs. Like you really got to be ready for what you're doing.
I did spend like an hour watching YouTube explainers because it's like I'm so fascinated by whatever is happening here, even though I've never played Final Fantasy VII, never played a Final Fantasy VII Remake, I've never played a Final Fantasy period. But yeah, there's some interesting stuff happening there.
Just watch Advent Children. It's a great movie.
Okay.
Can't Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Can't go wrong. It makes no sense, but you know, it's got some cool fight scenes, big swords, cool fight scenes. That's all JRPGs are these days.
There you go. Well, Wes, thank you for joining me. Thank you again for joining me back on here. Yes. Where else out? While you are still on the internet, where else out on the internet?
I mean, I do have my Retronym podcast that hasn't been updated in a while. I'm really trying to work towards that, but taking 2 master's level classes at the same time as raising a family and starting a brand new job. For some reason, you know, time just gets away from you really quickly. And when you're writing like 10,000 words per week for essays. So there is that, you know, the Retronym podcast. I'm going to work on that a little bit more once, you know, I don't feel like I'm going to die every week. And yeah, you can just find me on Discord because that's nice. The only place I'm active on the internet. Don't really care about anything else. Facebook, if you want to hit me up on Facebook, I guess. That's kind of weird, but okay. Only old people use Facebook.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's the turn-based Discord, as they would say.
Yeah. That Facebook is the JRPG of social media.
Yeah, there we go. Old school, been around a while, well respected, very boring.
Kind of. Filled with slop.
Yes. Oh, good. Well, thank you all for listening in. You can follow us on the major podcasting services or on YouTube. You can press all the good buttons there if you enjoyed this conversation. Quick Play is just one small part of the Playwell Network, which includes shows like Retronym, which is, you know, a little bite-sized video game podcast, much like this one. A link to Retronym and other Playwell Network shows can be found at playwellnetwork.com, but you can find Quick Play at the proper social at Quick Play Pod, and let us know what is the right JRPG what's the best gateway JRPG? That's what we want to know. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you. Bye.